This is part 6 of our Let's Play for Breath of the Wild. Almost said 100% walkthrough, and this is definitely not going to be 100% walkthrough because there's no way we're getting all 900 of those Korok seeds, so forget that.
No.
But anyways, in this part, the old man shows us how to use a scope on the Sheikah Slate. We pin some shrines, and then we just do some inventory collecting.
And I gotta say, we just finished up our first shrine of the game. You talk about the 100%. We only got 119 more to go before we get to that 100%. So it might be a long time coming.
Like, I really love the shrines, and like I think they're a lot of fun. Actually, I'm trying to get through all of them without looking on the internet. I know there probably is going to be a point where I will have to look at the internet to get one of them, but I mean, I think they're very fun. There's some of them that are kind of weak. You really don't have to do a lot in, and we'll kind of talk about that as we get there. Overall, it's one of my favorite additions in the game.
How in the world they came up with 120 different puzzles is beyond me, but I think they did a heck of a job, at least with the ones I haven't come anywhere near that amount, but I think they've done a great job so far.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, we keep encountering this old man here on the plateau, and I tell you what, if I can get around like him, walking around, paragliding, teleporting around when I'm his age, I will be extremely excited about it.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, you really don't do much when you're paragliding. Well, I've never really done it, especially with one like that, because there's no way with physics that thing actually flies. It's got to be impossible because everybody would create one if that actually worked, like being that tiny. But I mean, he really doesn't have to do much, but I kind of understand what you're saying, and I apologize for later on. I actually was trying to interrupt you, I guess, a little bit. Right before we started this commentary, actually, I just completed my 100th shrine, so that's kind of like a milestone in a way. But
heck yeah, it is.
Kind of going against what you were saying. They're actually, and I was kind of reiterating this. I just didn't want to talk about it too much, but they're not all puzzles. Like there are some where basically you just walk into and you'll get something because like the harder they are before, it's called blessings is what they're called, where they basically just give you the spirit orb. Those, like, if it's hard to get into those, like, you'll get more blessings in the game. So, not 120 puzzles, but there are a lot.
Yeah, the combat ones you'll see a little bit later on. They're a nice change of pace.
I hate
them. Some of them, especially, early on, they can be really, and even later on, for that matter, they can be pretty tough. But it does, I guess it breaks it up a little bit and makes it a little more, just gives you a little more variety. I guess it saved the Nintendo problems or the trouble of creating another, puzzles. So,
and that's the thing, man. Like, it's cool to have 120, but they redid so many of them. Like, I don't know how many, like you're saying, are fights or like the blessings. But like, you should have like capped it at like when you ran out of puzzle ideas. That should have been your cap, in my opinion, on shrines.
Agreed.
But at the same time, they also create like a travel point, so I guess they're good for that.
The warp points are great, and we just now learned about them from the old man as well as we warp to the tower. And I gotta say, like, warping in a game world this big isn't essential. I mean, you've got to be able to get around a little quicker than just walking or riding your horse. But the flip side of it is, like, this game is also beautiful, and there's so much to do in this game world that I kind of, and you'll see this the more you watch the walkthrough, you'll see more and more. I try to avoid warping as much as I can just because there's so much to see and explore in this world. I feel like I miss stuff if I warp around a lot.
I mean, it's really a great idea, and that's one thing that I've also been trying to do. Like, you know me, I like to get from point A to point B as quick as I can. So when I was first playing the game, like, I found myself warping a lot, and then I saw somebody on Twitter talking about it, like, hey, don't warp, just explore, and you'll kind of, like, explore more of the game and find stuff. And so I still do use warping quite a bit, but like exactly what you said, like our recommendation is to stay away from it because if you do stay away from it, you actually run across areas and you do explore the whole map. Well, you try to. I'm still finding stuff to this day that I haven't found before.
Well, plus with just the Koroks you've got to find, which at this point we haven't found any yet in our video series, but like the Koroks, the shrines, and just I feel like this world itself, they made such a big deal about it being an open world game that the world itself is almost like the main character of this game.
Yeah.
Like the whole focus was open world Zelda, and they've created this gorgeous, massive world that I feel like when you warp around, and to be honest, even riding a horse, I kind of avoid. It's just I feel like you lose some of the experience. I've kind of been that way with all open world games, not just Zelda. But for this one, for the first time that Hyrule is like this, I was like, I want to walk around and see everything. So there's going to be a lot of videos of me just walking.
Yeah, we've said that before. One cool thing about the horse is, like, if you're riding on a path, like, you'll go, like, onto that path. And so you actually have to steer it so you can, like, get on a path, ride a horse, and then you can look around. So I will do that, but kind of with you, I've not found myself really riding the horse that much at all. I mean, they're easy to get to. Well, there's a process later on in the game we won't spoil, but later on in the game they're pretty easy to get to. But going along with what you're talking about, the map being so huge, I'm really surprised from the technical specs of the Wii U and the Switch that they were able to actually make a map that's this large, beat out Skyrim and all the other large open world games. I knew it was going to be big. I saw scales in comparison to how big it was, but until we actually got here, and I don't even think we're off the Great Plateau yet, but
no, we're not.
Once we
got
there and started exploring, this game, it really is amazing how big it actually is.
And even just on the Great Plateau itself, the variety of landscapes, it's not all just the same all throughout. We don't really have deserts on the Great Plateau, but we're going to enter an icy mountainous region here in a few in next part, I think.
Yeah, and you almost fell off right there too, by the way.
My God. Dude, until we get the paraglider, getting off these towers is it's a little risky.
And we get the paraglider pretty this is probably the only time you actually had to go down a tower, I would believe, unless you chose to do it for whatever reason. So I actually like that part because from once we get the paraglider, I've always paraglided down from the towers. So
me too.
It's kind of cool, right there to see you go down and kind of just get the other viewpoint that you're really.
Agreed.
I mean, yeah, you can do it throughout the game if you want to, but you're probably not going to because it's kind of just a waste of time because you're not going to find anything new if you do that.
Now, I'm a big fan. At the top of that tower, we got the scope for our Sheikah Slate, and I really like it. It's it took the concept of the telescope from Wind Waker and made it even more useful because of the ability to put pins down on the map. And part of me is a little, disappointed that you're limited to 5 pins that you can put down.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I feel like I'd be putting pins everywhere, and I would just totally lose track of what marks what if we could do more than 5.
I'm doing that with 5 pins. So here you are talking about wanting more. I get confused on what my pins are when there's only 5. And the thing about them is, if you actually don't go exactly to where your pin is, or pretty close to where your pin is, it'll stay there. And I'll end up doing that. I'll just put a pin down. I'll go that direction. I won't actually take the pin off the map. And then later on in the game, I'll be like, okay, what in the world is here? It's got to be important.
I know, right?
I'll walk over and I'll be like, oh, I've already did this. And so I've forgotten to delete many pins and kind of wasted a little bit of time going back to them.
So I feel like I've tried to put most of my pins, almost all of them, on either shrines or towers.
Yeah,
And that way when you activate the shrine or start climbing the tower, the pin disappears on its own.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just see an interesting structure or something in the background that looks like something you want to explore. Mm-hmm. And like you said, if you don't get within basically right on top of it, it'll stay there, and you've got to remember to manually take it off.
Well, also has the stamps in this game, and I believe there's 100 of them. Where you can it's a variety of different things, but you can stamp stars, enemies, treasure. I believe one of them actually is a shrine, so those are nice to use. Those won't have the glare coming from the top, which
that's the problem.
So they're not as easy to spot when you're walking, but those stamps are also very valuable. And I mean, really, that's kind of your more than 5 of something that you kind of talked about you need,
that's
and
true.
The stamps kind of offer that.
Now, right there, you saw me just get smoked by a Guardian. On the one hand, it was kind of cool to run into a Guardian this early in the game. We get a little more story of them the further into the game we go, of course. But to encounter one, they are some of the hardest enemies in the game, especially this early on. We just have nothing really to combat them with, and I sit there and tried to swing at it a few times just to see if I could do some damage, and he just smoked me in one shot.
You're trying to hit a Guardian with a Boko Blend or Boko Club or what Boko Blend Club, whatever it's called.
It was not going to work. But yeah, it's cool to see one this early in the game though, because a little later on, the more you make your way towards Hyrule Castle, you encounter more and more of them, and they're on the go. So it's this one is a little easier to avoid just because it's stationary. I guess it's half busted.
Yeah.
So it's a little easier to avoid just by getting walls between its laser and you.
Lieutenant Dan, you ain't got no legs.
God, nice. But later on, we get some of the ones that actually do move around, and man, they can be an absolute pain.
I agree with you. I hate them, and they a runner. When you're just trying to explore, you're out in the field because there's a lot of them in Hyrule Field.
Really
I've been out there many times just trying to have a leisure walk or whatever, and those things come, and like you said, they're very hard to escape. We will get an item later on that helps us defeat them, but
thankfully
it's very expensive or hard to come by. So to me, yeah, they're cool. Yeah, I do have like an enemy that's powerful, but at the same time, they are kind of a pain, and like they do kill you, as you see, very easily.
So we'll try to avoid this one, and this will go ahead and wrap up part 6 of our Breath of the Wild videos.